Sister-in-law plans her wedding at my house, but on the day, she finds the locks changed. No wedding. Let me tell you, my name is Jennifer. I'm 28, and the past few weeks have felt like an episode of a reality show called How Much Nonsense Can One Person Take Before They Snap? It all started when my sister-in-law, Samantha, yes, the self-proclaimed queen of drama at 32, casually announced that her wedding would be held at my house. You might be thinking, oh, maybe she asked nicely? Nope. She declared it like she was announcing the Oscars. And why my house, you ask? Oh, because Samantha, in her infinite wisdom, blew all her money on a wedding cake that could double as a small skyscraper. This monstrosity apparently costs more than my entire year's salary. I mean, seriously, who needs a cake that probably requires its own architectural blueprint? But hey, priorities, right? Here's the kicker. I'm not even invited. That's right. Samantha, the woman who's about to turn my house into her personal wedding palace, didn't even bother to add my name to the guest list. Like, what in the actual hell? She's out here acting like this is some 5-star venue, and I'm just the janitor who gets to clean up her mess when the party's over. So now, I'm stuck watching her prance around, planning her dream day in my living room, while I'm expected to just disappear. She even had the audacity to say, "Oh, Jennifer, I hope you don't mind leaving for the day. It's not like you'll be needed here." Excuse me? Lady, this is my house, not the set of your low-budget fairy tale. But you know what? Fine. Let her think she's running the show. Because I've got a plan. And let's just say Samantha's perfect day is about to hit a major plot twist. Stay tuned. So Samantha rolls up to my house with her fiancé in tow. Let's call him James, my 30-year-old brother and the undisputed champion of spinelessness. She strides in like she owns the place, wearing this fake smile that could blind you if you stared too long. Without even pausing to breathe, she starts barking orders like she's the director of some Hollywood blockbuster. "Jen," she says, flipping her perfectly styled hair and batting her lashes like she's auditioning for America's Next Top Bridezilla. "These old couches in the living room? Yeah, they've gotta go. We're bringing in white chairs for the ceremony." White chairs. For my living room? I kid you not. Meanwhile, James is standing there, nodding along like a bobblehead doll in a car. Not a single word of protest, not even a flicker of guilt on his face. He's just like, "Yes, dear," as if he's completely forgotten that this isn't their house. You'd think at some point he'd remember, oh, I don't know, basic manners, but nope. My brother, the human doormat. And me? I'm standing there, deadpan, gripping my coffee mug so tightly, I'm pretty sure it cracked. Inside, I can feel my blood boiling, like how dare she? But on the outside, I just smiled. That kind of smile that says, sure, do what you want, for now. Honestly though, Samantha's confidence is almost impressive. She acts like the world exists solely to orbit around her wedding plans. Oh, your house, your furniture, your life. Nope. All hers now. And James, well, he's just thrilled to be her obedient little sidekick. But me, I'm not a fan of playing the background character in their little delusional fantasy. Trust me, this was only the opening act. The real drama was just getting started. A few days later, they showed up again, but this time, Samantha brought reinforcements, decorators, and enough flowers to suffocate a small village. The moment they walked in, the smell hit me like a floral slap to the face. It wasn't just roses or something classy. No, it was this overwhelming mix of trying too hard and who the hell thought lavender and lilies belonged together? My house smelled like a perfumed funeral parlor, and trust me, the vibe was just as tragic. Samantha, of course, was in full dictator mode, pointing at corners, rearranging furniture, and micromanaging every petal placement like her life depended on it. At one point, she turned to me with that fake sweet tone that makes you want to roll your eyes into another dimension. "Jen," she began, like she was about to offer me the greatest honor of my life. "On the day of the wedding, we'll need you to, step out for a bit, just to keep the atmosphere elegant." Elegant? She didn't just ask me to leave my own house. She said it like it was a favor to me, as if her high-maintenance circus was the pinnacle of sophistication and my mere presence would drag down the whole vibe. The audacity was almost impressive. Almost. And my brother, James, still silent, nodding along like his brain had gone on vacation. Honestly, At this point, I wasn't sure if he even had his own opinions or if Samantha had surgically removed them along with his spine. Then came the family meeting, because apparently we needed a democratic vote to determine whether I, the owner of the house, could stay in my own living room during Samantha's special day. My mom, bless her, was the ringleader of this nonsense. "Jennifer," she said in her best peacemaker voice, which is just code for do what Samantha wants or else. "It's just one day. Don't be selfish." Selfish? Oh, sure, let's talk about selfishness. How about the part where Samantha's treating my home like a free Airbnb with bonus catering? But no, according to Mom, I'm the villain for wanting to sit on my own couch. Classic. That's when it hit me. If they want to act like my house is some kind of all-access venue, fine. But they clearly forgot one thing. I own the locks. Samantha might think she's running the show, but oh honey, the final act is going to be mine. So I smiled. Not the happy, this is fine kind of smile. No, this was the wait-and-see smile. The kind that should have made Samantha nervous if she had half a brain. Because let me tell you, there was no way I was letting her fairy tale go off without a hitch. Stay tuned. While Samantha was busy turning my house into her personal wedding pavilion, I quietly made a call to a locksmith. Yep, that's right. While she was obsessing over floral arrangements and table placements, I was planning the ultimate plot twist. Revenge, my friends, is a dish best served with freshly installed locks. And let me tell you, every word that came out of her mouth during this whole circus made me want to scream into a pillow. "Jen, your kitchen is so outdated, but don't worry, we'll make it look gorgeous for the wedding." Outdated? My kitchen? The same kitchen where I've cooked actual meals and not just warmed up takeout for Instagram photos? But sure, let's call it outdated because it doesn't match her Pinterest wedding board. I just nodded, pretending to agree, because sometimes silence is the deadliest weapon. Inside, though, I was thinking, "Oh, sweetheart, keep talking. You'll love the surprise I'm cooking up." The locksmith arrived late that evening, right under Samantha's nose. He was fast, professional, and best of all, discreet. "You sure about this?" he asked, giving me a look that said he'd seen his fair share of revenge jobs. "Absolutely," I replied with a grin. "Just make sure it's Samantha-proof." By the time the locks were changed and the keys safely in my pocket, I felt a rush of satisfaction. Samantha could have her wedding flowers, her rented white chairs, and her delusional sense of control. But what she wouldn't have? Access to my house. The night before the wedding, while Samantha was no doubt practicing her royal wave in front of a mirror, I double-checked everything. The locks were solid, the keys were hidden, and the stage was set for what was about to be the most dramatic non-wedding of the century. Let them come. Let them all show up in their designer dresses and fake smiles. Because tomorrow, when they find out the bride is locked out of her own venue, it's going to be a moment for the history books. Samantha thinks she's the star of this show, but little does she know, I've just written her out of the script. The wedding day finally arrived, and let me tell you, it started like the opening scene of a comedy special. I woke up to the sound of cars pulling up outside. A full-on caravan of luxury SUVs, rented limos, and whatever else Samantha had hired to parade her fabulousness. Honestly, the whole street looked like it was hosting a Kardashian reunion. I stretched, yawned, and casually walked to the window. There they were, guests in their overpriced outfits and desperate attempts at sophistication. Samantha? Oh, she was front and center, of course, stepping out of her car like she was the queen of something important. She was wearing the dress. All layers of tulle and glitter that screamed, "Look at me, I'm expensive." It was the kind of dress that made you wonder how many bridesmaids had to suffer to pay for it. I took my time, no rush, made myself a coffee. The good stuff, none of that instant nonsense. Then I threw on my best dress, because why not? If I was going to witness the chaos, I might as well look amazing doing it. Coffee in hand, I settled onto my couch by the window, the perfect spot to watch the show unfold. And oh, it unfolded beautifully. The first hint of trouble came when Samantha reached the front door. She tried the handle, then she tried it again. Her face morphed from confident bride to confused guest real quick. Within seconds, she was on her phone, pacing back and forth in her glittery dress, her voice rising with every step. "Why isn't the door opening? No, the key isn't working. What do you mean you don't know? Fix it." It was chef's kiss perfection. Then came the banging, "Jennifer!" she screamed, slamming her hand on the door like it owed her money. "This isn't funny. Open the door right now!" I sipped my coffee slowly, savoring the taste and the moment. Music to my ears, folks. She was out there, all dressed up with nowhere to go, yelling into the void like a bad rom-com villain. Meanwhile, her guests were starting to notice that the elegant venue was more of a closed-for-business situation. Awkward glances, confused murmurs. It was a social disaster in the making. I could have gone out there. I could have opened the door and pretended this was all a misunderstanding. But where's the fun in that? Instead, I leaned back, crossed my legs, and watched Samantha's meltdown like it was the season finale of the best show ever made. "Jennifer, open this door!" she shrieked again, her voice cracking. "You're ruining my wedding!" "Oh, sweetheart," I thought with a smile, "this isn't me ruining it. This is karma, and she's just getting started." I stepped out onto the porch, coffee cup in hand, like I was the queen of Pettyville, and trust me, I wore that crown proudly. Samantha's back was turned as she yelled into her phone, so I cleared my throat loud enough to cut through her shrieking. "Oh, Samantha," I said with the kind of fake sweetness that could rot teeth. "Welcome to my house." She spun around so fast, I thought her glitter-covered dress might whip someone in the face. Her jaw dropped, her eyes widened, and for a split second, she looked like a glitching robot trying to process what was happening. "Jennifer!" she barked, her voice climbing a full octave. "What are you doing? Where are the decorators? The guests? Why isn't the door open?" She was waving her hands around like she was conducting an invisible orchestra of panic. I took a slow, deliberate sip of my coffee, savoring both the taste and the sheer chaos in front of me. Then, with the most casual shrug I could muster, I replied, "Oh, I don't know, Samantha. I just had a change of heart. You know how it is? One minute I'm feeling generous, and the next, I remember I wasn't even invited to this little shindig." Her face went from pale to tomato red faster than you could say Bridezilla. "Jennifer, stop messing around. This is my wedding day. Open the door right now." I tilted my head, feigning innocence. Yeah. About that, today my house is, how do I put this? Closed for business. Just like I was closed for your invitation. Funny how that works, huh? Her hands shot to her hips, and I swear I saw steam coming out of her ears. "You can't do this. Do you have any idea how much I've spent on this wedding?" I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I've got a pretty good idea. What was it? 50 grand on a cake? 3 grand on the flowers, and not a single dollar on common courtesy? Yeah, sounds about right." The guests were starting to gather behind her now, murmuring awkwardly. Some of them were even pulling out their phones, probably debating whether to call the cops or just record the drama for Instagram. Samantha noticed the crowd and switched tactics, clasping her hands together like she was auditioning for a soap opera. "Please, Jennifer," she said, her voice trembling with forced emotion. "This is my big day. Don't ruin it." I leaned against the doorframe, smirking. "Oh, Samantha, I'm not ruining it. I'm just giving you a little taste of how it feels to be completely ignored. You know, like when you decided I didn't deserve an invite to the event I'm apparently hosting." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. She had no comeback. None. And honestly, that was the best part. I sipped my coffee again, savoring the silence before turning back to the door. "Well, good luck, Sam. I hope you find a nice park or something, but as far as this house goes," I jingled my keys with a smirk. "Not happening." And with that, I stepped back inside and locked the door behind me. The chaos was a masterpiece. Guests started trickling away, their fancy dresses and uncomfortable heels shuffling back to their cars. Some muttered to each other, trying to piece together what exactly had just gone down, while others pretended they hadn't just wasted their Saturday on the most awkward non-wedding in history. A few even gave Samantha those sympathetic pats on the shoulder, the kind you give someone when their life is a complete train wreck, and you're just glad it's not yours. Samantha, meanwhile, had officially entered full meltdown mode. Her mascara was running, streaking her face like some tragic mime act, and she was screaming at James, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else on earth. "This is your fault!" she shrieked, pointing a trembling, manicured finger at him. "It's your sister! You should have handled this!" James just stood there, hands shoved in his pockets, staring at the ground like a guilty dog. Classic James. Zero backbone, zero response. Honestly, I was impressed he was still upright under the sheer weight of Samantha's tantrum. Seeing that her human punching bag wasn't giving her the reaction she wanted, she whipped around to face me, her glittery wedding dress now looking more like a very expensive mop. "You!" she spat, her voice cracking. "You've ruined everything. My day is destroyed because of you. Do you have any idea what you've done?" I leaned casually against the doorframe, crossing my arms like the unbothered queen that I am. "Oh, I have a very clear idea," I said with a smirk. "But please, go on. This is better than any reality TV show." Samantha's hands balled into fists as she tried to regain her composure. It didn't work. "I'm going to sue you, Jennifer. Do you hear me? I'll take you to court. You'll regret this." I couldn't help it. I laughed. Not a polite chuckle, but a full-blown, can't-breathe kind of laugh. "Sue me? For what, Samantha? Owning my own house? Enforcing boundaries? Oh, sweetie, please. This isn't the Hallmark Channel. You're not the hero here." She stomped her heel in frustration, which honestly was a bold move considering the gravel driveway. "You don't understand. You're ruining my life." I straightened up, gave her my sweetest smile, and delivered the final blow. "Samantha, let me spell this out for you. This is my house. I'm the boss here. And you?" I gestured to her bedraggled dress and tear-streaked face. "You're not the hostess. You're just, well, you." Her face turned a shade of red I didn't even know was possible as she sputtered, trying to form a coherent sentence. Meanwhile, James had quietly started retreating toward the car, clearly deciding that self-preservation was more important than sticking around for round 2. "Good luck with that lawsuit, by the way," I added, winking as I turned and stepped back inside. "Let me know if you need my lawyer's number." "Oh, wait, you can't afford it. Bye, Samantha." And with that, I closed the door. From inside, I could hear her frustrated scream echo through the driveway, followed by the sound of car doors slamming. I sipped the rest of my coffee, already looking forward to the peace and quiet that would finally return to my house. That evening, I was finally living the dream. Sitting in my cozy living room, wrapped in my favorite blanket, with a steaming cup of tea in one hand and the sweet sound of absolutely nothing surrounding me. No screaming bridezilla, no clueless James, no wedding circus turning my home into a chaotic disaster zone. Just pure, uninterrupted peace. Honestly, it felt like winning the lottery, except I didn't need to share the prize with anyone. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. Again. Mom. The woman had called so many times that I was starting to think she'd set up a hotline dedicated to why Jennifer should apologize. I let it ring out, casually scrolling through my social media feed like her desperate attempts at damage control weren't even happening. See, Mom's strategy was always the same. Guilt tripping. "It's family, Jennifer." "You're overreacting, Jennifer." Yeah, no thanks. I'd had enough of being the family's doormat. Let her and Samantha deal with their own mess. I wasn't about to pick up and listen to another lecture about compromise when the only compromise I'd made was not changing the lock sooner. As for Samantha, she'd gone radio silent. No passive-aggressive texts, no surprise driveway appearances, no dramatic speeches about destroyed dreams. I figured she'd finally accepted the reality that her little power play had failed spectacularly. Maybe she'd moved on to tormenting some poor, unsuspecting wedding planner or complaining to strangers about her evil sister-in-law. Either way, I didn't care. Out of sight, out of mind. James, though, now he was an interesting case. Rumor had it, thanks to Mom's voicemail number 17, that he was reflecting on the situation. Translation? He was realizing that his wife was more of a hurricane than a partner. I'd seen that look on his face when Samantha was melting down earlier, a mix of confusion, regret, and the faint realization that maybe, just maybe, he'd married the human equivalent of a wrecking ball. Better late than never, I guess. I leaned back on the couch, taking a deep breath as I looked around my house. It wasn't perfect. The living room still needed a fresh coat of paint, and the kitchen could definitely use an upgrade. But it was mine. My space, my rules, my peace, Samantha and her over-the-top wedding dreams had been the last straw, and I was done letting other people walk all over me. Sometimes you don't need a big speech or a dramatic confrontation to take back control. Sometimes all it takes is a locksmith and the guts to say, "Not today." I smiled to myself, sipping my tea, because honestly, the locks weren't the only thing that had changed.